were you waiting with the release to work a bit more on the song, or did you wait for the right moment and, you know, kind of luckily, or you know, it's, you can't call it lucky with the pandemic, but
Yeah.
you know, I guess I tend to also, it intensifies a bit the feeling of, you know, mental health problems amongst the artistic community. So what was the reason for you to release it just now if it was recorded so long ago?
The figure of August is sort of when we started working on it, and that process, as we've sort of said the whole way, is sort of writing and recording simultaneously, and it sort of informs the way that it ends up in the end. So definitely it's a poignant topic right now, but we weren't necessarily holding out for this particular event, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if we were,
it's been in the works for a long time. Yeah. We'd be having some questions asked about us if we knew that was coming. But do you want to continue, Hoft?
Yeah, I think I've solved my arachnid problem.
Good.
Yeah, so August, I'd come back from, like, funnily enough, a trip to Europe, and we were filming a music video for our third single, Skin. And Mitch had just had some chords, and he just really liked the picking pattern of it, and then we just took it from there. And as all songs sort of start, you just start, and then, I don't know, I had a beat, I had that marimba loop that kicks in at about, I think, 40 seconds or so, and that was the real driver for the song. But at the time, actually, we were working on a different song, because we really tried to set a deadline for ourselves to have a song out by like August or December, and so we could do a show by the end of the year, and all these other deadlines and wishful thinking, it all went out the window, because we just kept iterating. But the song was done, I think, like finished in terms of, we had a final version of it by, I reckon, end of 2019, because we played it live once or twice at the start of the year. So it was, and Mitch had obviously done all the lyrical content, and I think the last little part of it was maybe in January. I think I went down to Phillip Island, and Mitch came down for a couple of days, and we recorded some vocals and ideas, and then and there it was more or less done. But the process probably not many consumers know about music is that, like, once you write the song, it's a whole other beast, like recording it and producing and like, as we sort of touched on before, because that is done all in-house, it's a bit more of a longer process. And probably the last two songs that we'd released were a bit more on the somber side as well, so there wasn't as many dynamics and elements to mix. So that process took maybe about a month and a half, and then we also gave ourselves a month to just work on all the pre-release stuff and all that other business that comes with putting out a song. And then not conveniently, but coincidentally rather, it seemed to line up with a lot of current topics. So it's hopefully it kind of hits the mark with some people, and it is relatable. So.
But on that note as well, so it looks like you guys were finishing up the song and the whole production, you know, and mixing in the pandemic already. Is that correct? So kind of remotely?
Yeah. So in Australia, they pretty much set all these lockdown limits and all that stuff. And I think the day before I finished recording the vocals with Mitch, or we finished the bass parts, Cal. I think it was that weekend.
I think it was that weekend.
Yeah. And then from there, I just, to my own devices, stuck at home, working at home. And then every night I just jump on the computer and mix till some god awful hour of the night. And then six or so weeks. And would send sort of finished products back. And there was even elements of the song, although it was finished, there was just elements in terms of like how the keyboard sounded and certain guitar parts and dynamics were going to happen. And you could be there forever, just changing things.
Is it more difficult, or how do you work as a band nowadays as well? Because now, obviously, in Australia, you guys are much more relaxed when it comes to the restrictions than we are in Europe, for instance. But I guess there was a moment where you couldn't really leave the house, and like you couldn't really meet as a band. So how do you cope with that? Do you rehearse remotely, as some bands do, or did you just kind of take this time to do other stuff, and you just you just waiting for the relaxation of restrictions to come back to work together?
Yeah, I would say that, again, I think it was just purely coincidental timing that the stage of where we were heading in terms of the song release was into a complete mixing sense. And we didn't really, the only thing we were practicing for at the time was we were planning to do a single launch to go with the song. And just then we'd actually introduced a drummer, a friend of mine that I went to uni with. So we were working on that, and then restrictions hit. So we pretty much just put the stop on that, and then it pretty much went completely online, where we just, I guess we sort of had a break in that I was just working on the mix and we were in the background. I guess Mitch is always writing things, and Cal is the perfect like ear for advice. So it was great to just be able to send stuff through. We didn't have to be in the room. We'd meet up every week and have an online chat and talk about the ins and outs of the song and all that sort of stuff. So again, coincidentally but conveniently, we didn't have to meet up as much, and the internet's a wonderful thing.
I had this impression when it comes to, like the melody and how you arranged it. I immediately thought of, do you know this tune by Flight Facilities, Claire de Lune? There is like a jingle, there are like this sound that it is also kind of reflected in the song, your song at the beginning. And I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar, but I really like it. And also, I thought it was a very good tune for like a movie soundtrack, and I thought that it would have been perfect for Drive if you'd written it when Drive was released. So
that's a massive compliment.
Oh, it is. I love the soundtrack to Drive. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's just like all
it's great film
and stuff, but still it's very like spacey and airy, like your guitars as well, and like it really gave me that impression. So this song is really pretty, and I think it builds up nicely as well, to this climax, and then it kind of drops down. So I felt like I was in your head in a way. So kind of going through the process of like dealing with this stuff, and then kind of coming to terms with it, and then pleading for help and stuff. So very well executed. So congrats on that.
So jump in. Even on that, I realized that, like, I don't know whether it's something that fortunately we've just been able to do together, or whether it's Mitch's lyrics or whatever it is, but I've always felt that we've tried to make it that like the song is either sung for you, or it's like you're part of it and you're involved. I know it sounds super corny and cheesy, but like trying to capture that intimacy and I guess like personability is something that either it comes out inherently, but it's cool. It's cool to hear that. I think it'd rock in a soundtrack or a film as well. We'll have to jump on that licensing, Cal.
Most definitely. If we can find any way to get that happening, let's do it.
The summer blockbuster of 2032 or something.
So is this the original release date, or did you guys change it as well? Because a lot of musicians, I know that Hockey Dad, for example, it wasn't about a single, but they were meant to release the album like now in April or May. They pushed it back to, I think, June or July. So is the original release date for the single?
We didn't have a release. I'd say we probably had a release date when we started looking at gigs and that, but the song wasn't even like the mix and the master and that wasn't even done. So, and again, it was in that transition where everything was starting to be shut down. So it kind of just opened up to be, we can spend a few weeks and working on this mix, and then we'll just pick a date once it was done. Sorry. So I guess it did impact it, but it was probably a good thing, because I don't think, if given the time frame we were giving ourselves for April, I don't think we would have finished the song to this sort of quality and everything else we wanted to do. So again, it keeps sounding like this COVID's worked out well for us, but
it's an ambiguous thing to say, but I think I know what you mean. It's not all bad, let's face it. Some people found
just
it
adapt.
Exactly. So you do what you have to do, and like you can't ever plan for anything in life. So I guess this is just kind of like worked for you guys, which is fine. Oh, is there going to be a video for the song? I was going to ask.
We've got
some quarantine ISO video. Everyone's doing those now.
No, we've got some, I guess, like little documentary style videos that are coming out where we actually sit down and talk about the song. It was real process to film, but we hope it gives a bit more of a personable insight into what the song's about. But music video, all that sort of stuff, it's on paper and hopefully looking to get done, but it's hard to commit to those sort of things until we know whether we can actually be in the same room together and all those other restrictions.